Mr. K's in North Charleston, South Carolina. Was here a year ago. Just got back. They're closing. Was just in there picking up some stuff for their sale. So let's see what I got. Greetings, y'all. Welcome to another video. We're back on the road down here in South Carolina. And when I got down here, the first place that I stopped into was Mr. K's. And the reason for that was, unfortunately, a couple of weeks ago, I'd done a video on Mr. K's when I visited it last year. And one of the people who worked at Mr. K's watched the video and commented that, hey, you know, that's cool that you stopped by our shop. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be down there pretty soon, so I'll probably stop in again. And the guy wrote back like, you better hurry up because we're closing on June 30th. So that was a bummer to hear. You know, it's always a bummer to hear stores closing down. I guess the rent got too high and just wasn't feasible for them to stay there anymore. There are a couple other locations, so the Mr. K's will live on, but just not in North Charleston there, which is unfortunate. It's a really cool store. I liked my visit last year when I went there and look forward to going this year as well. Didn't realize that this visit would be like a final visit, you know. I mean, the good part about that for me and my wallet was that they were having sales, 20 to 40% off stuff. But still, you know, kind of a bummer to see this place closed down. As you can see, they got on the cover of the local paper here, Mr. K's. You know, I guess there's some issues in the area with a lot of places kind of losing their leases and having to shut down, which is a bummer. But was glad to pop in there again. Got some great deals on this stuff. So let us see what I got. 2007, we get Block Party and their album A Weekend in the City. Have one other CD by Block Party which I like quite a bit, and so when I saw this there and it was in like their $2 bin, which after the discount I think I got this for like $1 or something, but decided to pick it up. I don't know any songs on this record at all when I grabbed it. I think the CD I have by them is maybe their first record, and this might be like the follow-up. But it's pretty good, kind of like alternative rock. Didn't find this one as great as the initial one, although, oops, this is just some thing to sign up for Vice Records, which I don't even know if Vice Records exists anymore. But always surprising when you find like these dollar bin CDs and they still have like little inserts and stuff like that in them. But this one, you know, didn't stand out to me as much as the first one, at least on the first listen. Most of these that I picked up I've only listened to once. Maybe a few of them I've listened to more than that. Some of the tracks on here I like. Waiting for the 718, On, I Still Remember, and Sunday is another track on here that I like. So yeah, got to listen to this a few more times because like I said, it hasn't really settled in, but not bad pickup. 2005, we get Art Brut and their debut record, Bang Bang Rock and Roll. It's not even on the spine, that's weird, but it's on the cover. Alternative rock band, I think they're from England. Not bad. They kind of got like a little bit of a more of an aggressive or like this kind of like attitude to them, you know, to their sound. Art Brut, I've had this band like on my like kind of want list, not specifically any album, just the band, because I think back in like the mid 2000s I read about them in a magazine, maybe it was Blender or something, and what I read about them sounded kind of like, it sounded like a band I might be interested in, and just have never picked anything up by them, never found anything by them, and I don't even know that I've ever heard anything by them. And then so I saw this like Block Party. This was in the $2 bin, so it cost me like $1. So I finally got to pick up some Art Brut and check them out. And it's pretty good. I like it, you know. Like I said, it's kind of walks that line between just kind of like alternative, like rock, and almost kind of leans a little bit towards punk on a few songs. But it's pretty good. I really, the first listen to this, I really liked what I heard. Some of the songs on here that I like are Formed a Band, My Little Brother, Emily Kane, Good Weekend, that's a really good song, and Fight with that exclamation point. You know they mean business if they put that exclamation point there at the end of the song. But yeah, good pickup. I like this one, Art Brut. 2001, we get Spoon and Girls Can Tell. Need we say anything more about that? I've got, I think, one other CD. I don't think I have two. I think I have one other CD. No, I think I have like two other CDs by Spoon. And I like both of them quite a bit. So saw this there. Again, I think this one was like, I don't know, maybe it cost me like $2 or $3. So I decided to give it a shot, take a chance on it. Didn't know any of the songs on here, but you know, like two of their records, you're bound to like a third, correct? But good band, you know, like alternative rock. I think I read that they were like dropped by their record label right before this. This folds out like this, and recorded this, and then I guess signed with Merge. This is on Merge Records, and then re-recorded everything. And I think I may have read that they were maybe trying to sound like get a little bit more of like a new wave sound, perhaps, or something like that. I think I might be confusing it with somebody else, but I think I read that on this one. But yeah, it's pretty good. Like I said, I've only listened to this once, I think, maybe twice. But some of the tracks on here that stood out are Believing Is Art, Me and the Bean, Lines in the Suit, Take the Fifth, Chicago at Night, and Everything Hits at Once, which that one, when I heard it, when I put this on, I actually did recognize. I'd heard that before somewhere. So yeah, this is a good record. I like this one. Spoon is turning out to be quite the band that I enjoy listening to. 1989, we get a promo by The Replacements called Incarcerated Live. This was released to promote the second single from Don't Tell a Soul, Aching to Be, and the LP version is on that. The other 5 tracks on here are all live recordings from the University of Wisconsin in Milwaukee. I don't think they have the date here, but it was part of the tour to promote Don't Tell a Soul, so I guess it was probably recorded in '89 when this came out. But love The Replacements. This promo, it's got like the Charleston's Best Rock 96 Wave FM. So this was released to radio stations, I guess, got this, and they put their little stamp on there, which you usually don't see, which is kind of weird, but kind of interesting. No booklet, just a card there. But I'd kind of been looking for this and I'd see it on eBay. Usually it was a little more expensive than I wanted to pay for it. And so when I saw this there at Mr. K's, I grabbed it up. They've reissued Don't Tell a Soul and put this concert, the full concert, on that reissue. But I think it's only, I don't know, I think you have to buy like the whole box set, which is like a vinyl album, the original CD, and then the bonus CD. So, I wasn't really looking to buy that box set, even though I like that album. I have it on vinyl, I have the original CD, so I really wasn't looking to buy that. This seemed like a good opportunity. They have released this on vinyl separately, this album, not on CD though, which is weird. I don't know why they did that. You can pick up the vinyl, the full album, the full concert on vinyl. But yeah, great listening to this. Great to hear The Replacements. As a live band, they're famously kind of hit or miss. Sometimes they were very sloppy. Sometimes they were just, a great rock band live. The live tracks on here, you get a little hint of the sloppiness a little bit, but the tracks are all really good. I really like this. They do a nice cover of Another Girl, Another Planet on here as well, which is good. But yeah, glad to pick this one up. 2003, we get the Thrills and their album So Much for the City. Interesting thing about this band is I have one other CD by them. I picked it up at a CD warehouse in Georgia maybe 2 years ago, and knew nothing by the band, didn't know who the band was, knew no songs, nothing, but it was in like a dollar bin, and the cover kind of looked interesting, and I just took a chance on it, a blind buy, and it ended up paying off. It ended up being a really good record. So saw this there and decided, well, let's try it again, see if it works as well, because I knew no songs from this record at all. And this one's good as well. Kind of alternative rock band, similar to Spoon. Is I think these guys were dropped by their label, trying to find a new sound. They may have been the ones looking for more of like a new wave sound, not Spoon that I was talking about before. But I think they relocated to San Diego maybe, and wrote most of the songs there, which you can kind of tell because there's so many references to California: Big Sur, Hollywood Kids, stuff like that, Santa Cruz. So at first when I was hearing that and reading the names of the songs, I looked up because I thought maybe these guys were from California, but they're not. They're from maybe Ireland, I forget exactly where, but they're from Europe. But they'd just been in that area, I guess trying to figure out what they were going to do, and were writing these songs, and I guess the area obviously influenced them. But it's a good record. I really like this one. I don't know how many albums they have. I'm not even sure. I think they're still together. I think they're still out there, but not positive. But some of the tracks on here I like are Santa Cruz, You're Not That Far, Big Sur, Old Friends, New Lovers, Hollywood Kids, Just Traveling Through, and Your Love Is Like Las Vegas. Has anyone ever said that to you? Your love is like Las Vegas. Sorry, honey, your love is like Las Vegas. Or, honey, your love is like Las Vegas. I don't know. What can you do? Hey, that'll be on my acting reel. But yeah, good band. Check them out if you're not familiar with them, the Thrills. From 2011, we've got Human Switchboard and their compilation, Who's Landing in My Hangar, Anthology 1977 to 1984. Never heard of this band before, saw it there. It was a little more expensive than the other ones. I think when I was in the store, I just quickly looked up to see what kind of music they played. There's another receipt. I visited Mr. K's twice, so take advantage of these deals. But I looked up to see what kind of music they played, and it sounded like kind of this, punk, which I had a feeling it was like kind of punk, post-punk or early new wave, that kind of stuff. So decided to take a gamble, buy it. I don't know. I guess I don't know that I'm that big on like blind buys. I do make them here and there, but I wasn't really that keen on doing that when it's a little more expensive. If it's cheap, so like if it's going to cost me $1 or $2, then it's a little easy to do. But this one, I think I ended up paying maybe $6 or $7 for. But I don't know, something about it just told me I had a feeling I'd like this, and I do. How about that? It's really good. It kind of has a little bit of Velvet Underground kind of feel to it, or Television, or even like early Blondie, not like the disco-y, new wavy Blondie later on in the 80s, but that earlier like 70s stuff kind of has a little bit of that sound to it. But really good band, surprised me. I really, really enjoyed this one. Some of the tracks on here I like are Say No to Saturday's Girl, Refrigerator Door, I Can Walk Alone, I Used to Believe in You, Book on Looks, Shy About You, Fly In, and Maybe It's Stupid. Maybe it's stupid of me to buy blind buys that cost $7 or $8, but it paid off, everybody. Anyways, yeah, really good band. I really like this. I guess they only released one official studio album, which is all on here, and then the other stuff are kind of like unreleased stuff, I guess stuff they were working on as like a follow-up, and then there's some live stuff they recorded at CBGB's in New York. 1985, we get Camper Van Beethoven and their album Telephone Free Landslide Victory. I think this is their debut, I'm pretty sure. So I own one CD by Camper Van Beethoven, Key Lime Pie, and I've had it for a long, long time. I picked that up a long time ago, and it's okay. I wasn't that big of a fan of it. I did like the first couple Cracker records quite a bit, but this one I was always looking for because of Take the Skinheads Bowling. Always loved that song, and never found this, and never thought I would find this like used. And walk into Mr. K's, and they had it, and I couldn't believe it, and I grabbed it, got it for, I don't know, maybe $2 or $3. So worked out, the wait. I took the long road to get it, and finally picked it up and got it for an awesome price. But it's really good. It's this early Camper Van Beethoven stuff. It may sound odd, but it almost reminds me a little bit of the Dead Milkmen. The lyrics are very kind of like sardonic, kind of satirical, and it just, when I was listening to this, I hadn't heard anything besides the Skinheads tune on this, and that's the first thing I thought of, was like, this kind of reminds me of the Dead Milkmen. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed this one. A lot of instrumentals. It's almost like they go back and forth, instrumental, then like a song with lyrics, then instrumental, song, lyrics, kind of almost like that. Some of the tracks on here that I like are The Day That Lassie Went to the Moon, Oh No, Where the Hell is Bill, I Don't See You, Ambiguity Song, and then obviously, like I said, Take the Skinheads Bowling is really good. And then they do kind of a weird, almost like countrified cover of the Black Flag tune Wasted. But yeah, good pickup by Camper Van Beethoven. And from 1987, more Camper Van Beethoven. This is their album 2 and 3, which I think this is their third record on Rough Trade. So grab this one as well. Very similar to the debut. There's a lot of instrumentals and still have that kind of sardonic kind of songs to them. It's a little bummer because it's just a insert here. But yeah, this one I wasn't as crazy about as the other ones. It's okay. Some of the songs on here I like are Down and Out, Don't You Go to Goleta, We're a Bad Trip, and Sometimes was pretty good as well. But again, like I said, this one I wasn't as crazy about. I think I've listened to this maybe 2 or 3 times. It's still, still just thought it was all right. But speaking of Camper Van Beethoven, 1988 brings us more Camper Van Beethoven. This is the very special Camper Van Beethoven episode of Steve's Music Collection. This is their album, Our Beloved Revolutionary Sweetheart. This one, unlike those previous records, I don't think there are any instrumentals on this one, and that kind of like satirical, sardonic kind of lyrics or whatever, I think you don't find a lot of that on this one, like you did those previous records. I don't know if they're just kind of getting a little older or just kind of getting a little more serious, whatever, But not a bad record. But when I went in there to Mr. K's, they had a bunch of Camper Van Beethoven, and I picked up the one with Skinheads on it and listened to it and liked that so much that I was like, I'm going back and grabbing those other ones. Hopefully they're still there, and they were, luckily. But this one, the tracks that I like are Eye of Fatima Part 1, She Divines Water, One of These Days, Turquoise Jewelry, and My Path Belated. And yeah, not a bad one. This one's a little bit of a bounce back from 2 and 3. I like this one. And guess what, everybody? 1993 brings us more Camper Van Beethoven. This is Camper Van Antiquities. This is kind of like a rarities collection that they put out. And I think there may have been a few different lineups that they had over the years. So these kind of like cover some of those different lineups, I think. But not bad, not a bad record. Let's see, what do we got on here that I like? Heart, 7 Languages, I'm Not Like Everybody Else. And they do a cover of the Ringo Starr song Photograph. This one, similar to those early ones, there's a handful of instrumentals on this, and a lot of the songs almost have a bit of a country kind of vibe to them. But yeah, not a bad pickup. So that is my final visit to Mr. K's in North Charleston. Sad to see it go. But let me know what you think of these records, any songs that you like on them specifically. Love to hear that. Always interested to hear what y'all got to say. And there's a couple of links below. I don't think I've mentioned before. I did like an interview with the CD Junkies column, and I also was on a podcast called The CD Collectors. Really good podcast you should listen to. Even if you're not into CDs, just the music talk on it is worth it as well. But I'll put links below to both of them, and check them out, and would love to hear your comments about these. Thank you for watching, and if you've been to Mr. K's, by all means, I'd love to hear your comments about your visits to the place in the past. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you another time later on.